Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 50th episode of Talking Elite here on the All Elite Zone podcast. I am your host, the bearded wonder himself, Adam Blexey. Tonight we are talking AEW 2023 in review as we're gearing up for 2024 coming up here. I believe it's Monday is the 31st, is New Year's Eve. So we're very excited to do this review. A lot of talking points for you guys tonight. We thank you all for joining us here tonight. Before we get to the show, obviously, let me introduce the panel that will be joining me here tonight as we discuss 2023 in review. First and foremost, let us welcome one of our favorite Midwesterners. She is the biggest Wardlow fan, and she is also one of the biggest CM Punk fans in the world, maybe more than Connor. We don't know. And she got her cat. But please welcome Miss Danny to the show tonight. Happy Bears Day. God, please find someone to buy the Bears and Fire.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to like this one, Adam.
Caskies and Coach.
Dental floss.
Dental floss. Yeah, no, he has really bad teeth.
Okay.
I'm still amazed. Hire Harbaugh so Vikings beat Green Bay. Yeah.
Please.
Please.
Let's all say a prayer. I cannot deal with Green Bay wins. I'd rather have a Brewers win than a Green Bay win. I respect dibs. For those of you listening from Chicago, so respect the dibs. And in the words of the wonderful, hold on, sorry, I'm a little uncoordinated today.
You got to get Sammy Guevara to work with you on this.
Have a great day.
I think Danny's going to be our designated cue card.
I will. I'll do the cue cards. Why not?
So
dig it.
Great. Next, we have one of our favorite Canadians joining us tonight. You've seen her around on the live reactions and on Saturdays when they do AEZ Canada. Please welcome one of our favorite people from the North, Miss Siren. Thank you for joining tonight.
How are you guys doing today? I'm doing absolutely awesome, by the way. I just got home, so yeah.
Yeah, time. And finally, of course, the man who, without him, we wouldn't have a podcast. He's the brains behind all this, and we love him for it, and we always enjoy his intake or his insight in everything and take everything he says to heart. Ladies and gentlemen, our favorite producer, Mr. Connor Hayes.
Every week you do these very great intros, and sometimes I don't know how to take them, but definitely appreciate them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is gonna be a good episode. A full year in review of AEW from all the best, worst moments. It should be a good one.
Yeah, no, and like I said, I should be good at doing this. I mean, I have a degree in communications. This should be something I'm good at, is doing stuff like this. So I'm hoping I'm doing a good job every week, you know? Obviously, yeah, we're coming to the end of the year, guys. We're about to finish 2023, about to go in 2024. 2023 was a very exciting year in AEW, but also in all pro wrestling. But, you know, mostly there were some great stuff in AEW. You know, we had our highs, we had our lows. We had great storylines building this year that may even continue to next year. We don't know. But through thick and thin, through the good, the bad, the negative press, the positive press, we all stuck through it. And so what I want to start off is a question to each of you. In terms of AEW, the product in general this whole year, what is the year of 2023 in AEW meant to you guys as far as a viewer? You could talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it above. Just what has it meant to you as a viewer and as a fan of AEW in 2023? Siren, we'll start with you.
Well, for me, it was just really nice to see everything, in my opinion, coming back together. I felt like for a while there, when they were really picking up a lot of new talent and they were going through like a lot of changes, when it was picking up people or losing people, it was storylines were kind of pushed by the wayside. Injuries and stuff happened. And so I feel like this year they're really starting to put things back together. And I feel like the quality is coming back in storytelling, which makes me super happy. And I got to see a lot of things finished up this year that I really wanted to see finished up, which was good. So yeah, all in all, I mean, I think that we're coming into 2024 up, and I feel like it's just 2024 is probably going to be a really fantastic year, I think.
No, I totally agree. We definitely saw some things happen in terms of storylines and matches we actually wanted to see in 2023. Even though it took a while, we finally got to see some of them. We got to see wrestlers that we, finally get to see in AEW. So yeah, no, I agree with you. I think 2024 is going to be shaping up to be a good year for AEW. Danny, what is 2023 in AEW as a fan meant to you?
The unpredictability, the fact that, you turned on the pay-per-views, you never knew who was going to show up. You didn't know what was going to happen, where with WWE, as I said before, you can kind of predict what's going to happen and what direction they're going to go in. And what is it that keeps you tuned in? It's going to be that unpredictability, because it's like you see what happens. Oh, wait, I have to watch next week, or I have to watch Collision, or I have to watch Rampage. So with AEW, you have to tune in to keep it going, because it's something that is still fresh, is still different. And the fact that they don't really do storylines, but they do, is kind of reminiscent of WCW, when you had a couple storylines, but then you had random people just pop out of nowhere to fill spots on the show.
No, and I totally agree with you on that. I mean, there was a lot of unpredictability. We never knew where certain storylines are going. We still don't know where a lot of storylines are going. For example, the Devil storyline. We're trying to see where that's going to come to an end. Reading today an article, I guess Tony Khan did an interview. He said he's hoping to see, basically mentioned it might come all unfolded at this weekend at World's End, which will be the final pay-per-view of 2023 for AEW. Big pay-per-view. You guys talked about it yesterday. We were talking about it together, all of us together, about how this pay-per-view is starting to build and looking like an exciting pay-per-view to end the year on. Maybe continue some stories there, but it is the unpredictability of where you don't see a lot of things happening on TV that you expected. So I actually do like that take on that, Danny, of the unpredictability on AEW. Connor, I would love to hear your intake on what AEW, being a day one guy, how's that feel for you this whole 2023 in AEW?
I think 2023 has been an up and down year. It's had a lot of growing pains. It's had a lot of stuff that they normally didn't have, but in every company, you have growing pains. Every year is not going to be a ballpark year. This year we've got to see a lot of matches that we thought I'd never get to see. MJF and Kenny Omega, MJF and Bryan Danielson, Will Ospreay going against guys like Jericho. I never thought we'd see. I never thought we'd see Sting in a wrestling ring again. I know he debuted in 2020, but still seeing him wrestle in 2023 is still something that is still shocking to see. A lot of new stuff came out. We got a new TV show. We got a new video game. We got this year they've expanded a lot in their merchandising stuff. But for me, AEW really hasn't had a bad year. But if I had to compare them, 2023 probably wouldn't be the best year, but it's still been a very good watchable year. Very good. I went to a few shows this year. I had a blast at some of the shows I went to. Even without them, we went to a show together. I think this year has been a growing pains year, but every company goes through growing pains. So, I thought 2023 was a really good year for first-time matches and matches you never thought you'd see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, and I totally agree. For me, 2023 was the same, Connor. I think it was an up and down year. I think you had a lot of bad taste in the mouth from a lot of backstage things that happened. As far as, we talk about Brawl Out. We talk about CM Punk being fired. We talk about, all the whole mess backstage. But it didn't really translate to what we got on screen. There were a lot of good matches and some good segments in AEW this year, but there were also a lot of kind of cringe, kind of bad matches and segments in AEW this year. I wouldn't have to put, I knew you were going to see that.
I was waiting.
I mean, hey, there's also some wrestlers that we're not fans of in the ring because they're still green and they do need some work. Maybe they need character changes. And we possibly saw that a little bit this year with some wrestlers. But for me, 2023 was an exciting year for AEW, with the good, with the bad, with the press. It's crazy to think that we're past another year and this company's still here, regardless of what the IWC likes to say, that this company's going out of business. It's a mess.
Yeah.
Total lie. But I'm just very excited to see where AEW goes in 2024. And honestly, that does start with their wrestlers, with their people on their roster. And 2023 gave us so many good wrestlers on the roster. But there's been people there that have been there a while. And there's some that actually you saw in 2023 kind of improve in matches. So I guess that's where I'm going to start the list off tonight. Basically, to give everybody the rundown, and everybody listening, everybody watching, please leave your comments in the chat. Let us know what your thoughts are on all these categories. I go off tonight because we would love to hear it and love to respond to it. But we're going to start off with most improved. We saw a lot of guys and gals on the roster actually kind of improve from as long as they've been there, or even they just got there. And we like how they improved with AEW. So again, we'll start again with the ladies. Siren, start with you. Again, you guys can kind of see where I'm cycling through, but Siren, we'll start with you. Who was your most improved wrestler on the AEW roster and why?
NK. So I'm coming at this from a really weird angle. And mine isn't just most improved. For me, it's like the person that I really never thought that I would like, and now I do. And it would be Daniel Garcia, actually. I wasn't a big Daniel Garcia fan. I really wasn't. I actually used to call him Mr. No Personality. And yeah, and like he'd come out and be like, oh,
love it.
Right? Like, and yeah. And so throughout this year, I've really grown attached to Mr. Garcia and his little dancing and his the constant back and forth and the you're a wrestler chance that he gets. It really brings the crowd out, and I feel like he's definitely improved in ring, on mic. His facial expressions, I just feel like he has captured my attention in a way that I was 150% sure that he never would. So I'm gonna go with Garcia.
Yeah, no, that's a great choice. Actually, we're gonna switch it up too. For every wrestler we give tonight, us as the panel will also discuss our take on that specific wrestler or that moment or whatever. So, Danny, what did you think of Siren's pick for Daniel Garcia?
I'm going to agree with her on Daniel Garcia. I actually just got around to watching Collision on Saturday, and there was a guy that said that had the sign that all I want for Christmas is a Garcia win. Garcia has been looking very impressive in the... What did you just do? Hold on. Hold on. She stepped on something. Give me a second. Hold on.
Those cats, they just do whatever they want.
Stella Irene, enough. Okay, sorry. Okay, Life with Cats. Okay, so again, Daniel Garcia has gotten very impressive as of late. And there's just something that he does. I can't explain it, but you just watch it and you know it's there. And he is just looking very impressive. The second one is Be Still My Heart, Mr. Starks. He has really stepped up his promos. He has stepped up a lot in terms of he's stepped up in terms of promos. He's stepped up in a lot of different ways, and he actually gets more fun to watch by the week, and he also brings a certain energy and a certain swag to that heel. Face Starks, yeah, but heel Starks, whatever you do, don't turn the man face again. He needs the heel gimmick because it's something he's good at.
Wow, yeah, no, I agree with that completely, Danny. I think Starks has that it factor, even though he's stuck in a tag team with Big Bill. But he is that charisma that actually is the future of AEW, and I actually like that take as basically your pick for most improved. Is that who right? Is that who you're picking for most improved? Is Ricky Starks?
I'm picking that. I'm agreeing with Siren, and I'm picking. Oh, and there's hers too. I'm agreeing with Siren for Daniel Garcia, but my pick again is Starks.
Oh, absolutely. Connor, what's your take on their two picks, and who would yours be?
First was Daniel Garcia. He's definitely improved a lot this year. More the singles wrestler. I think the last few, ever since the Continental Classic, he's been in a lot of singles matches. He's definitely improved a lot. And then Ricky Starks, he's always been good. every year is just another big year for him. The first year that he was with AEW, he was with the faction. Now he kind of went on his own a little bit. He went against MJF, and then he went against CM Punk, and then he went against Bryan Danielson, and now he's a champion. He's a tag champion with Big Bill. I agree with both of those, Ricky Starks and Daniel Garcia. For me, I'm going to go with Julia Hart. She's really improved this year. She was just a dark jobber at one time. She was on dark, losing matches left and right. Then she was as a cheerleader with the Varsity Blonde. Then she gets put with Malachi Black. I feel like that group really improved her a lot. She's gotten some knowledge that she probably never would have gotten in the Varsity Blondes group. Being coached by Malachi Black, Buddy Matthews, and Brody King at once is pretty. It's very lucky you get to pick everyone's brain in that group. You got Buddy Matthews for the in-ring style. You got Malachi for your character, and you got Brody for your bodyguard. I guess I don't know. I don't know, but Julia Hart for me. She's a champion now. She's really improved in-ring, and she's getting everything that she's getting. She's earned. So I'm gonna go with Julia Hart.
That a good choice, and especially for the female division, they needed that, that the one character-driven female, and we're getting more of them now, with Timeless Toni Storm and all that. Now with Julia Hart, they're starting to build character to those women wrestlers, and they also got great in ring style. So I love all your guys' picks. For me, I'm going to go with a dark horse here for my most improved because I'm just a fan of his in-ring work that he did through the Continental Classic, and that's Roosh. I was a huge fan. I mean, he didn't get much time in singles a lot because he was part of that faction and he was in, tag matches, trios. But this year he really shined as a singles competitor, and it showed in that Continental Classic tournament. I mean, he had banger matches, with Jay Briscoe and Jay White and John Moxley. He actually just looked really at ease in the ring with all those guys. And I'm a big fan of his. I love his character, El Blanco Toro. I love that character. I love his in-ring style because he adds a little bit of the lucha to it, but he's also got that hard-hitting style, that you see big men do, like someone like a Brody King. Someone that just knocks people around with hard chops and hard clotheslines and beatings, but he's also got the technicality down. He's got the lucha libre style down, and a mixture of all those three with his character. He was a solid performer for me this entire year in 2023. So excellent all choices for most improved wrestler this year. For some of our viewers and some of our listeners in the comments, a lot of them picked a lot of good names. We'll go to some of those right now. So give Connor a minute to
go.
So of course, King Courtney agreed with Connor with Julia Hart. Good choice. Another one, Toni Storm. Yes, we talked about the women's division improving and getting characters. Toni is one of them. Jesse has said Sky Blue. She was actually my number 2 for most improved. Her character development, just her in-ring style is awesome. Julia Hart for Devin as well. And Roosh, yes, I agree. Roosh is a good pick. Really improved this year. So very excited to see what Roosh does in 2024. On top of everybody we picked, I'm very excited to see what Daniel Garcia, Ricky Starks, and Julia Hart and Roosh all do in 2024. I think there's big things in store for all 4 of them in 2024. So next we're going to go to this one is kind of a little take because when we look at AEW, there's not a lot of pay-per-view events, but there's solid ones. Obviously, we got World's End coming up, so we won't be talking about that. But we'll talk about 2023 pay-per-views, and we'll go around. It could be a certain match that gave you that made you pick that pay-per-view, or it could just be the pay-per-view overall on the card. But I want to know, each and every one of you and our listeners, the best pay-per-view of 2023 for AEW. So, Siren, I'll start with you. What do you, in your opinion, what was the best pay-per-view?
That's you.
Bless you. What was the best pay-per-view for you in AEW in 2023?
I was not prepared for this question. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know. I picked my favorite match, but it was a Dynamite match. So I mean, I don't know. I would have to say Wembley just for the fact that they made it to Wembley, and it was really awesome to see all the people being like, they're never going to do that. That's never going to happen. And then just the satisfaction of it happening. But yeah, I was totally not, my bad. I did not have that one prepared.
No, and you know what, and I like I said, I just all this stuff was trying to keep it simple, and pay-per-view, pay-per-view seemed like an idea because again, we talk about they don't have a lot of pay-per-views, but they have enough that we can pretty much go over them and pretty much pick our favorite or pick a match from it that made it our favorite. So I mean that's just basically what I've been trying to do is just trying to find all that stuff. So if you want to come back to it, Siren, we can come back to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so Danny, we'll go to you. What was one of your favorite pay-per-views of 2023?
Okay. One of the ones that I wish I would have watched was All In. I, of course, am a streamer, so you can't really get the pay-per-views on Hulu. But that looked really interesting, and I'm sorry I missed it. And for obvious reasons, All Out, because I was there. Note to Chicago listeners, I ate a hot dog in the United Center and I committed a sin because I had ketchup on it while screaming my head off. And I really liked All Out. I was confused for a second, but I really liked All Out. There was a lot of energy despite the somber mood for obvious reasons, which I'm sure will get brought up later in the show.
Was there a particular match on All Out that maybe blew you away on it? That made you or was it the entire card?
I think it was just the card because it was my first pay-per-view. Again, I tried to go last year. We didn't get tickets in time. My husband actually was able to get in to like the waiting room for Ticketmaster, and then all the tickets were gone because they've basically announced it like that and tickets went on sale the next day. But we were able to get tickets for this show, and we actually brought up, are we going to be going again this year? And I'm like, am I from Chicago? Duh. We're going again in 2024.
Right. No, I agree. I think I think All Out was really good. It was, I do feel, a little too close to All In.
Yeah.
But I think the card was solid. You had some really solid matches on that. Obviously, the one of the matches being Orange Cassidy and Jon Moxley for the international title. That was a solid match that I think everybody was excited for. We kind of knew they were maybe pushing for Moxley to win the title, but no one really knew. But you also had some other decent matches. You had Billy Gunn and the Acclaim versus that Jay Lethal Jeff Jarrett group. For what they've been doing, Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, and that group, they've been solid entertainment on television. And then you had, the Ring of Honor title match with Dark Order versus Better Than You, Baby. I mean, I think that was a solid tag match for those titles, for Ring of Honor tag titles. And honestly, I thought, Dark Order would win them, kind of gave, a little more to them. And then, you had, Darby Allin wrestling Luchasaurus for the TNT title, and then Miro wrestling Powerhouse Hobbs, which afterwards the debut of CJ Perry. So I think that pay-per-view really did stack up pretty well for the year. Again, for me, I think it was just really too close to All In, that I feel like it could have been spread out better. But I like the pick.
Yeah. And I feel too that like All In, great pay-per-view. I mean, to do it at Wembley the way they did was just amazing. But then I felt like it kind of took away from some of the magic of All Out because they were so focused on All In. And I think what it would have been kind of cool is if you would have started storylines at All In that would have also played out to a degree at All Out to even further down, the road since that last pay-per-view, ending with this pay-per-view, World's End.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree, but I think that's a solid pick for All In. Connor, what about you? What was there a certain match to it, but what was your pay-per-view of 2023?
It's a tie between Revolution and All In, because Revolution, Danielson and MJF was really, really good. Their Ironman match. And All In was really good too. There's a lot of good matches in All In. And Forbidden Door was good this year as well. It's really hard to pick just one, but I'm gonna go with All In just because of the atmosphere it was and the excitement it was. Like no other pay-per-view AEW's has had that type of, excitement. 81,000 or 75,000, 81. I don't know how many people that had, but like that, a lot of people in that place. They never done that before at AEW. I was the first time ever doing it. Probably All In because seeing CM Punk and Joe at Wembley, and they always wrestled in front of small crowds. Like, well, Ring of Honor wasn't. It's small compared to Wembley, but to see them wrestle in front of literally like 300 people to 81,000 is something pretty cool. But Revolution was good too. The Elite and House of Black Revolution was really good. Yeah, the only pay-per-view I wasn't really impressed by was Double or Nothing this year, but every pay-per-view had something to bring. Even this last one, Full Gear, was really good. But I'm gonna go All In. Was my favorite of the year.
Yeah, I feel like that's the consensus with a lot of AEW watchers. I think a lot of them are going to go with All In just because it was a huge event, and it was a huge event for AEW. Obviously, we've seen WWE in England, at the O2 Arena. I think that's in England, right? The O2 Arena. Yeah, we've seen them at that arena. We've seen them do live events in England. We've never really seen AEW do like a live national event or across the seas event. So this was huge for AEW and Tony Khan. So I think the consensus is going to be All In for a lot of AEW fans. Siren, we'll circle back to you. Did you figure out which pay-per-view did you like the most?
Yeah, okay, because I'll let you guys know right now. I was given a list of questions and I prepared those questions. Okay, my memory is really crappy, so I need to go into things fully prepared. So yeah, but I would go with Forbidden Door. And the reason I go with Forbidden Door is, it had the Kenny Omega and Ospreay match, and it also had the Athena and Billy Starks match. And anybody who's been listening to me on like either my stream or has gotten to know me over here at All Elite Zone knows my love for Athena and the whole Billy Starks thing that they have going on right now. So I'm really excited about that. And also, I believe it was just at like the 0 hour, but Stu Grayson was there. I love Stu. I give him 10 out of 10 Stus. So
yeah, he actually wrestled. He actually wrestled El Phantasmo there, and
yes, he did.
I love El Phantasmo. I don't know why, but I love the stuff that he does in the ring. That's actually a solid pay-per-view. I mean, because you had MJF wrestle Tanahashi, and that match has never happened before. And then you had, obviously some of the first round matchups for the Owen Hart tournament at Forbidden Door. So you got to see CM Punk versus Kojima, which is, I don't think they ever wrestled before.
That massive clusterfuck of a match with John Moxley and like
that I kind of throw out. And then even the match that Sonata had with Jack Perry, I was very impressed with the way Jack Perry wrestled that match against Sonata. Because I out of all the New Japan guys, Sonata is probably one of the most impressive to me. And being their champion, I like watching his matches online. But that's a solid pick for Forbidden Door. Obviously, it was the second one, Forbidden Door 2. So I kind of like the idea that Forbidden Door is going to be an annual thing with AEW and New Japan. I mean, we talk about Tony Khan having a great relationship with New Japan. So I actually look into some of the more dream matches we'll see at Forbidden Door in the future. For me, it was very hard to pick what I wanted to pick for 2023 because a lot of the good pay-per-views I had a stream and some I missed. But I got to watch some matches in recap tournament. And I think for the overall feel of it and the overall excitement I had, not just from outside of All In, because obviously that's a huge event, I have to go with Wrestle Dream. Wrestle Dream actually was probably one of my favorite pay-per-views of 2023. I went back and watched it, and I was very excited because you had some really good matches. You had an 8-person mixed match in there. Claudio wrestled Josh Barnett, and if anybody's never seen Josh Barnett wrestle, I highly recommend look at reels of him because he's a solid guy in the ring. You had, Billy Gunn and the Acclaim versus TMDK.
Mhm.
And then you had MGF defeat the Righteous in a handicap match for the Ring of Honor titles. You had Eddie Kingston versus Shibata, which was a solid match. You had Chris Statlander versus Julia Hart, where you actually got to see Julia Hart kind of show what she's capable of in big time matches. The Young Bucks and Lucha Brothers wrestled against it was Lucha Brothers, Young Bucks, the Guns, and Orange Cassidy and Hook in a 4-way match. Obviously, we got to see the first match of Swerve and Adam Hangman Page. But the biggest one for me was the main event, Christian beating Darby, 2 out of 3 falls, and the debut of Adam Copeland. I was a huge Edge fan in WWE, and seeing him in AEW just brought happiness to my heart because I'm a big fan of Edge. Not just that, he also shares my first name. So, but I think I'll go with that for my favorite pay-per-view of 2023. So for some of the viewers on in here on the comments, Davis picked Forbidden Door, so he agreed with you on that, Siren. Devin, of course, All In. I think everybody would agree. It was a really good pay-per-view, obviously monumental as well. Yes, Omega, Ospreay, MJF, Omega. Those are solid matches as well. And obviously we got one more pay-per-view, World's End. Very excited for it this weekend. Fox, thank you for joining us. Heyo, Ghost, welcome. And Davis agreed with me with Wrestle Dream. I think it was a solid pay-per-view. Now with the pay-per-views also comes just overall moments. It could be a pay-per-view, could be a Dynamite, could be a Collision, could be a Rampage, could be a Ring of Honor. Siren, you could pick a Ring of Honor moment. But for each of you, I just want to know what was just the favorite moment of 2023. Again, it could be a pay-per-view or a moment on TV, but just a moment that just left you speechless or literally just went, wow, I love that. Siren, what was your favorite moment in AEW in 2023?
The J Driller. I mean, you guys have been here with me for that, but you weren't here for like the me ranting about it for like the longest time. So yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna have to go with Mark landing the J Driller and finishing off his tag career officially and heading on into his rookie year, as he calls it, rookie season as a singles wrestler. That was awesome. My pop for that was legit. Wow. And then I had a favorite match, which was Vikingo versus Omega, because that was just stellar. That was just a stellar match. The entire time I was just like, wow. And so yeah, I'd have to, that's favorite match. But yeah, and then I Athena and Billy Starks, when Athena didn't graduate Billy from MIT, and Billy turned and tossed Athena into the guardrail, and all she did was like roll on the ground and laugh. Because it was exactly what you wanted the whole time, and you knew it, and we all knew it, and so it was good. It was satisfying. But yeah, at the end of the day, it was the J Driller. I mean, I was calling it, and I was waiting for it, and so it was so satisfying to have it happen. It was good.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are big Briscoe fans, and we were very happy to see Mark be successful in singles career this year and really improve. And very excited to see what he does in 2024. Danny, what about you? Siren kind of mixed it up. We'll do that. We'll do the same with you. Favorite moment match in AEW in 2023 for you?
Favorite moment, and I'm gonna go with Adam Copeland's debut. This is a guy that since 1998, he gives me chills when he enters an arena. And this was the same guy, 2011, he retired and I cried. That's one of the few times that I've cried as a wrestling fan. And I can tell you, actually, I cried when Owen passed away. I cried when Eddie passed away. And I cried when Edge retired. And then when he came back in 2020 at the Royal Rumble, and that was almost 4 years ago, I was in Chicago. I was at my sister's house watching this, and I was just like in total awe, and I started bawling. And every time I see him return and I watch the videos like on YouTube, I just get chills and I have tears in my eyes because to come back from a neck, what was it, like a neck fusion surgery, I believe,
Yeah.
to come back from something like that is amazing. And he's an amazing guy. And I've even tweeted him and told him how amazing and inspirational he is. My second, oh gosh, favorite match. I wouldn't say I have a favorite match, but my second favorite moment again is Mark Briscoe. And Jay unfortunately passed away the same day that my grandmother passed away. So that's why it's kind of hard for me. And I'm always going to remember that day. But to see Mark in action without Jay, when Mark is there, on Dynamite Collision Rampage, you can feel Jay there and you can almost see him walk to the ring with him. And I know Jay's smiling in heaven.
No, and you know what? I think we're all in agreement there. One of the biggest things was Jay's passing, but the fact that Mark was able to debut in AEW with both tag belts, Ring of Honor tag belts, I think that was a solid moment because that's on my list for moments as well. But yeah, no, I'm there with you as far as Jay passing away. It was a very hard moment. I'm agree with you, Danny. I've cried a lot in pro wrestling too. I cried when Owen Hart passed away. Obviously, everyone knows I'm a big Owen guy. And then, again, I cried when Edge retired. I cried when CM Punk came back. It's very emotional. Wrestling
Really
fans, we get emotional, but we know that there's stories and, it's premeditated. It's all pre-predicted, but they're still people,
Right.
and we kind of, as fans, we kind of can relate to them, and kind of feel their stories. So I love your take on some of these moments. Connor, what was a moment in 2023, a match in 2023 that you kind of had a favorite?
Match and moment. Match wise, I'm going to go with. That's tough. I'm gonna go with MJF and Adam Cole on Dynamite. I thought their All-In match was good, but their Dynamite match was really, really. I thought it was a little bit better than MJF and Adam Cole on Dynamite. And then moment of the year would be since this is AEW, I can't say my number one favorite of the year, but for AEW it would be it's a tie between Edge's debut and CM Punk's Collision promo, the first episode. Either one of those, but it's tough to pick. So I'd probably say Edge because I never thought he'd leave WWE. Like that's just someone that shouldn't be. You wouldn't see him leaving WWE, but yeah, I'm gonna say Edge's debut or CM Punk's Collision debut promo.
Yeah, no, CM Punk returning after obviously the brawl out and everything like that, coming back and doing his promo on AEW Collision. I mean, the famous line, something about bucks or something like that,
David Zaslav called him One Bill Phil, but he's the most genuine article in a room full of counterfeit bucks.
Counterfeit bucks, thank you.
Yeah.
No, I mean that you kind of felt that. But yeah, no, those were all solid picks by everybody. I think the consensus is Mark Briscoe. But for me, I'm gonna take a little bit of turn and actually say my favorite moment was actually the promo Edge or Adam Copeland and Christian had on Dynamite when Ed or Adam Copeland. Sorry, we can't call him Edge anymore because he's not in AEW. He's the rated R superstar Adam Copeland. But the whole story of them as brothers, and the famous Christian "Go F yourself." For someone who's grown up watching those two guys in WWF, WWE as a tag team, I felt that. I'm like, oh my God. I was like, I know they feuded before in WWF, but they've always tagged, so watching them in AEW having a feud with each other, I just like, that's the moment I've been waiting for. That's what I wanted to see back in the late 90s, early 2000s when they feuded on single stuff. And then I would probably say my favorite match of the year is MJF and Bryan Danielson's Iron Man match. I think that was probably where we got to see MJF at his best and see his projection through 2023 of what he could do and why he is the world champion in AEW. But that was a solid match that pretty much stick the needle into his start as the year-long reign champion in AEW. So we're going to switch it up a little bit. I know I had a list of best something, but I'm going to throw a little curveball at everybody. I wasn't going to save this towards the end, but since someone brought it up in chat, I was going to bring it up now. But we're talking about pro wrestling right now with AEW, but pro wrestling in general in 2023 was very exciting. You had storylines from a lot of promotions. So we're not going to pretty much go into full detail on everything, but just if you guys can think of it, and if you guys watched any other promotions, you guys can pinpoint it. But I want to know from other promotions, could be Impact, WWE, MLW, AAA, whatever else anybody watches. What was your guys' favorite moment from another promotion in 2023? Siren, we'll go with you.
Serpentico and Nyla winning tag champion gold.
You got to remind me what promotion that was just recently too, right?
That was just recently. I can't remember the promotion. I just remember seeing her tweet or whatever that was like, I can't believe he's trying to tag me. And then his reply was like, are you tweeting while I was in the ring? And it was like, yeah. that for me, that was just awesome. And I love Serpentico. Like, I do. So.
Yeah, no, and it's awesome to see. It's awesome to see AEW wrestlers succeed in other promotions. It's fun to watch pro wrestlers succeed in other promotions that are allowed to wrestle in other promotions. You know, they're not binded by a contract to just wrestle for one promotion, and that's not a dig at WWE. It's just what's in the contract. You know, but yeah, it's nice to see wrestlers kind of go off to other promotions and wrestle and win titles in them. Danny, what was one of your favorite moments in another promotion this year?
I'm going to pick two. The first one, let me talk to ya. LA Knight just going to that level, because here was a guy, he was Eli Drake in TNA, and I vaguely remember him as Eli Drake. They gave him that Maximum Male Models thing, which again, the guy's a great talker, but it didn't suit him. Now that he's on that next level, I'm actually trying to get a certain somebody to go to SmackDown, as I said last week, because also I can just hold up a sign for LA Knight, but definitely seeing him, get that push, because he deserves it. He's a solid worker. He's great. I love him. And then the second one, I'm going to say Cody's return. That was something that definitely caught me off guard. I didn't think it was happening. And just Cody's in-ring work. The promos are a little stale because they're almost the same thing week after week, but definitely Cody's return also, I feel like, has just been amazing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's funny seeing LA Knight, aka Eli Drake, just be in WWE and get the reaction that he gets from the crowd.
Oh God, yeah.
Because a lot of people remember that literally a lot of people did not like him. A lot of people were basically not fans of him. No. It wasn't until his feud with Bray Wyatt that kind of put him in the spotlight. And I think it's sad but great at the same time that the loss of Bray Wyatt kind of projected LA Knight's career right now in WWE.
Absolutely.
And it's hard for me to fathom because Bray Wyatt was such a present, and he had this, I'm sorry to say, it was a horrible match with LA Knight at the Royal Rumble, that pitch black match. It was just a promotion marketing scheme match, with Mountain Dew. But it kind of pushed LA Knight to the top and had a match with Roman for the title. And then to go back to what you were saying about Cody, I'm still a Cody mark. Even though he's in WWE, I still love Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
I always loved the Rhodes family. I was always a Goldust fan back in the day of the early '90s, mid 2000s with the Goldust character, and then Dustin Reynolds, and then Dusty Rhodes, obviously, son of a plumber, the American Dream. But yeah, no, I love it. I love the fact that Cody is going back to do what he wants to do with WWE. So Connor. We were talking about other promotions this year and some of your favorite moments or something from those promotions. What's one promotion outside of AEW that you liked, you didn't like, you have a critique on from this year? Can you speak?
Number one is probably pretty obvious. It's what I wanted to be the number one, but TNA's announcement, that you didn't expect that one. No, I'm just well. No, the announcement for TNA is probably my second outside of AEW because I grew up watching TNA. A lot of people say they grew up watching WWE, but for me, I grew up watching TNA. Guys like AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, things like that's what really got me into wrestling. I can remember watching WWE, but really like getting me into it was TNA. But number one was the return of CM Punk at WWE Survivor Series. That was my number one moment of the year outside of AEW. I thought I was dreaming. Like I asked my mom, like, "Am I dreaming right now? Like, is this really happening?" Like, I felt like I was living in a dream. But I'm excited for what Punk does in 2024 and TNA. I think that's I'm really excited to see what TNA does. They've already made some pretty good signings, and they got a big signing coming up at their Hard to Kill coming up pretty soon. So yeah, those are my. Oh, and things I didn't like was anything Marina Shafir. So.
I mean, that's just pretty much going to be obvious for you. Is anything Marina Shafir does, you're just like, yeah, I'm over it.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, I really don't think so badly of Brandy Rhodes anymore.
I gotcha. So in the comments, we've got some comments here from some of everybody listening and watching. Thank you guys for joining us. Ghostblade says here, I cried when Roddy Piper died. I think I did too. I was a big Roddy fan. He also says Edge and Christian are at the pinnacle tag team brotherhood, the Cain and Abel Crossroads. I agree. I think they're one of the top 3 tag teams, if not one of the best tag teams in the history of pro wrestling. King Courtsy here said Pandemonium Pro Wrestling was the promotion that Nyla and Serpentico won the titles in. Siren. So we got the name of it. Davis says, I think it's better when wrestlers can only person for one company if they are signed because it causes a lot of injuries. I kind of see your point there because I was talking about how it's nice that other wrestlers can go do other stuff with other promotions, kind of cross-brand stuff. I see your point, and too much of it could injure someone and kind of throw a wrench in plans in case travels issues come up or something as far as storyline comes up. Ghostblade also says, and now LA Knight is the next generation promoter for Slim Jim commercials after Macho Man.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool. Well, because Macho Man did the Snap Down Slim Jim. Oh yeah. Now LA Knight just says yeah. He doesn't have to do the oh yeah. He just says, yeah. So Jesse Clarkson is the agreement with Connor. The announcement of TNA. Ghostblade asks, "Oh yeah, I'm able to cut live podcast." Sai. Okay, so we got someone that follows Sai. Thank you for watching tonight. Adam, how do you feel about Cody Rhodes? Don't get me started on the Stardust character.
I think that was I'm agreeing with Adam on this one because that was like, I hate to say this, but Ghostblade, I agree. And that Stardust gimmick was cute in the beginning, but that like held Cody down the first time. That's how I'm going to put this. And it's kind of like my last job the last place I worked at before I retired to become a nanny, I was working with school agers in the afternoon and I had to do a lesson plan for them for an hour a day. Some of them were only there for 15 minutes. So it was kind of like held down, held back, and not allowed to reach your full potential.
It's one of my favorite things in pro wrestling. Like I said, I talked about Edge and Christian. We'll talk about Dudley Boys, the Briscoes, Young Bucks. But for AEW this year, there was a lot of 4-way tag matches and pay-per-views, but there's a lot of solid tag team matches in AEW. We'll start with Siren because we're going to talk about tag team of the year in AEW. In your viewpoints, your favorite tag team of the year, who stood out, had the best matches. Siren, we'll start with you. Who was the best tag team of 2023 for you in AEW?
That's really tough because, like, and they weren't there for a really long time, and they're not going to get to go anywhere. But I was really excited for the Golden Jets. And that's I know, like I said, they didn't get very much and they didn't get to go anywhere really, but I was super excited for that. I'm a Canadian. Was very excited for two Winnipeg boys who are not just like professional wrestlers, but like legendary professional wrestlers to make a tag team. So that was gonna be my pick. But mine's more of a trios. I'm really leaning towards the trios. I love the Acclaimed. Everyone loves the Acclaimed, but they that's my jam.
Mm-hmm. Oh, perfect. Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
and that's fine to pick a trios as well. It doesn't have to be two people. It could be a trios tag team.
Yeah, so I love the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass.
Go for it. Because we're talking all tag teams.
Oh yeah, then yeah, definitely, yeah. Trios would be, the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass, and it's really awesome to see Billy Gunn still wrestling at the ability that he is, at the age that he is, and like I would just want to go up to him and ask him if I can grade some sharp cheddar on his abs because I'm pretty sure I could. My gosh, man, like the shape that he is in, wow. But yeah, no, they're just inspirational. They're always awesome, and they're always great. And the kind of like the trials that they went through with Billy was really good, and I feel like having them on top, and their belts are really, really awesome. I know that they're kind of lame and some people don't like them, but I think they're great. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Acclaimed. I think everything that they touch is gold.
All right, no, good pick, Danny. What about you? If you want to tally up, kind of tail off of Siren with that and go into your list, go for it.
Okay, I'm going to be biased, but my favorite tequila drinking guy from North Carolina, obviously I'm a big FTR fan, always have been. Had the pleasure of seeing them 2019 in Milwaukee in WWE, and they're just amazing at live events. So I'm going to go FTR, and then I'm going to also agree with Siren that the Acclaimed brings such an energy to any arena that they're in. And of course, obviously, I've only seen them in Chicago, but they are ridiculously entertaining. And I was at, it was at Collision in Chicago the weekend of All Out. And when Max Caster was talking about somebody from the White Sox, so I'm in the United Center. I knew the name, but I couldn't, and I can't think of who it is. I had to actually look them up because I didn't know who it was. But just they're ridiculously entertaining. Billy Gunn, again, Siren, I agree with you. He looks amazing to be, getting up there in age, and that he's still able to go like that, keeps himself in that kind of shape. And I hope to be in that type of shape when I'm his age because he looks amazing.
What about you, Connor?
Tag team. I'm going to go FTR. I said it last year. I'm going to say it again this year. They put a lot of good matches on. The match against the Young Bucks at All In was really, really, really good. Mm-hmm. That gave them I didn't think their first two matches, they were good, but they weren't like it was supposed to be. Because, that's a dream match, it was. Because, they were in WWE and Young Bucks started FT. They created the name FTR, essentially. If anyone knows what it meant when FTR were in WWE. But they put a lot of good tag team matches on against Bullet Club Gold on Collision. That was a really good match. I don't know what it is, but FTR every year it seems like they come up with my number one tag team. I seen today that they were number one. They were the number one tag team on ESPN and Sports Illustrated, I believe. Trios, House of Black. I really, really, really like the House of Black. I don't think they should lost trios titles, but I'm curious to see what they're fixing to do with FTR. They're kind of feuding with FTR right now. The tag team FTR, Trios, House of Black.
Yeah, no, I think those are solid picks. Obviously, I've loved House of Black since they formed and debuted in AEW. It's one of my favorite groups. But again, I'm gonna go with Danny and Connor and say FTR. I met them back when they were the Revival in WWE. You know, I met them. Surprisingly, I met them at a hotel with Elias at 2:00 in the morning, which was weird.
Oh, I love Elias. Love, love,
I met them, and they were awesome. And I've always been a big fan of their style of wrestling, their tag team wrestling. It's kind of like old school wrestling. That's why I like their style. And so for tag team of the year, I mean, obviously Connor said it. They did win tag team of the year with ESPN, and I agree with ESPN. They put on solid matches. Their story with the Young Bucks is always fun to watch. They, you know, even their feud with the makeshift team of Ricky Starks and Big Bill. You know, obviously we thought, oh man, this is just going to be an easy win for FTR, and then they lose the titles. But they make any tag team look great in a match. You know, I mean, look at it with the Guns. You know, the Guns beat them for the titles, and then they won them back. You know, but they put on solid matches. There's never one FTR match that I watched that I disliked. I liked every tag team match FTR was a part of, and I haven't said that since watching, you know, the triple threat matches between the Dudley Boys, Hardys, and Edge and Christian in WWF. So I mean, it's been a while since I've seen solid tag team wrestling, and I'm glad we have FTR because they are just so much fun to watch on TV and on pay-per-views, and hopefully they get the titles back one more time before they leave wrestling. So next we're going to move to female wrestlers. We talked about a couple earlier in the show, but now we're going to talk about our number one female wrestler of 2023, the one who stood out to us. I mean, it could be the same person you said for most improved, or it just could be someone we mentioned earlier, but Siren, who is your female wrestler of 2023 and why?
It's Athena. She's put on.
I knew that was coming.
Of course it is. Have you seen her matches? She's so intense. I miss the wings. I do. Like, they were dope, and she made them herself, so that was pretty awesome. But like, I love her attitude. I love her in ring. And she's put on some really stellar matches. Like, I brought it up already, but that Kiera Hogan match was just like, wow, that's cool. Like, I don't know, and I love how she's elevating that entire women's roster in ROH, and I feel like when she comes back to AEW, it's gonna be a bit of a shakeup. I think it'll be fun.
Well, here's a question for you, Siren. Who do you think Athena should feud with next? Now that everything's settled, seems to be settled with Billy Starks. Who do you think she should feud with?
To be settled. In the meantime, I mean, I personally do think that since her and Tony were talking about her coming back to AEW, I mean, I think that she's kind of outgrown a lot of the talent in ROH. They've had to bring in people. But I don't know. They've been really pushing like legit Layla, and I just I'm not really a big fan of that whole matchup. I just don't see much there aside from the fact that they're both kind of angry. But like, I don't know, like, but I think that she would be good with anybody. You could put her against anybody and I would watch it, and I'd watch her destroy them. I would love to see her come back though and do something like her and Timeless in the ring together would be, because they're just two different kinds of crazy. Like, Athena's that like wild animal kind of like batshit crazy, and Timeless is just, well, and so I think like getting the two kinds of crazies together would be really fun. But yeah, no, I definitely Athena. I love everything she does. She's amazing.
Oh, great. Yeah, no, I'd love to see what's next for Athena. I actually would like to see her back on AEW TV. I think she had some solid matches on AEW, and I know she's doing solid things with that Ring of Honor women's title over there. And I'm actually happy to see where she's come along since she was, since she left WWE, and she even had some solid matches over there. I've been a fan of her since she was over there. That's when I discovered her, was when she was in WWE, and then I went back to watch some of her older wrestling. So I'm a big fan of her. So that's a really good pick. Danny, who was your female wrestler of 2023 in AEW and why?
You want to know my pick for best female wrestler? Let's Tony Storm. That gimmick is just so entertaining to me. I just reading on my notebook, but there's just something about the gimmick, and it's Marilyn Monroe based. So if look at it, and very few people can pull off a Marilyn type gimmick. Tony's got the blonde hair. She's got that the features that work with it, and then that accent and just her mannerisms just give that gimmick a pop. And I don't think anyone else could pull that gimmick like she could.
No, solid pick. And I will add on to more of that after Connor goes, because you and I are in agreement, Danny. So, Connor, who was your female wrestler in AEW of the year?
Well, it's gonna be Tony Storm, but
I did Connor's like
I
shit.
beat you to the punch.
kind of. Yeah, Tony Storm was number one. If I had to pick anyone else, I'm gonna have to go Tony Storm. She's always been one of my favorites since she came to AEW. I think she's been the best women's. She's probably been the best women's signing that they've ever made. She can talk, she can wrestle, she can really do anything you ask her. I mean, she'll wrestle Dynamite, Rampage, Collision, Dark. She's done it all. Pay-per-views. She hasn't turned down anything. Maybe Sky Blue. But yeah, I gotta go Tony Storm.
No, and I agree. I think we're all in agreement there. Us three is. I don't know what it is about the timeless character that Tony Storm's doing, but I, as a movie fan of both classic movies and like the older movies, I love it. I think it was a total 180 of what she had been coming into AEW. On a side note, I will say, favorite women's moment for me in 2023 was actually seeing Saraya win the women's title at All In. Just because knowing the story of Saraya, and her basically hiatus because of a possible broken
neck,
broken neck, and her coming back to pro wrestling and then winning the title in her home country was a big moment. Obviously, I think that wasn't the plan. I don't know, because if it would have gone another way, I think Jamie Hayter versus Saraya would have been the match instead of the 4-way we got. But I think AEW did a really good job telling that story in that 4-way. And I believe when she comes back, I think Jamie Hayter will be, this is my prediction now, Jamie Hayter will be the women wrestler of 2024, is for me right now. But for right now, timeless Tony Storm, that character, her entourage, the whole kit and caboodle of it is just so good right now in AEW. And what she's doing right now, and even wrestling one of the first women's champion in AEW, Rio, at World's End, I think that's going to be solid. So to the comments, we had a couple about tag teams here. Davis wrote FTR for me. That's their name. So FTR Bullet Club Gold. Yeah, no, they had really solid matches. Yes, we're wondering too.
I actually have a thing about that.
You got a comment on that?
I do, because I don't believe that ROH is developmental. I have a belief that ROH is not necessarily, or shouldn't be viewed as a developmental. There's a lot of talent on there, like you mentioned, like Athena, that shouldn't be there if it is developmental. I think it's a place for people in AEW to go to explore different options. Like Athena flipped, she did her heel turn there, right before, but then, you know what I mean? And she really developed that twisted character there. And now to take that back to AEW, I mean, something you can do, a place you can go where you can wrestle other people and grow characters, or just do something different and not necessarily have it affect your TV presence. You know what I mean? Because not everybody watches ROH who watches the televised AEW programming, even though they should.
Right. No,
but
I
feel like it's an experimental place, not a developmental place.
I mean, we saw it in the earlier stages of Ring of Honor back in the mid 2000s. I mean, it wasn't developmental. You had wrestlers there that were there to wrestle because there was nowhere else to go, and it was a promotion that basically had shows, basically had pay-per-views. That they were a promotion. You saw the likes of CM Punk, like a Samoa Joe, like a Tyler Black, aka Seth Rollins. You had everybody there, Bryan Danielson. And I don't think it's a developmental either. That's like saying, even though it's technically is, NXT is developmental, but they've got people over there that wrestle on independents that are on their show. I mean, Gigi Dolan has wrestled independent stuff as promotions for a while. So I got to agree with you on that, Siren. I don't see Ring of Honor as a developmental. I just see it as another product of Tony Khan that's outside of AEW that has AEW wrestlers on it. So I don't see it as developmental. So Sire Jesse also mentioned Sky Blue and Tony Storm are there too. Jason said Athena for me, and Ariana said Soraya for me 100%. Yeah. No, so solid pick for women of the year. I think next year, obviously we just got Thunder Rosa back. If she can stay healthy, we'll get some good matches there, and hopefully not backstage issues. And then obviously when Jamie Hayter comes back, I think the women's roster will look very solid. In my opinion, I'm just stating it now. I think the best women rosters in pro wrestling right now is Impact. I think they have probably one of the best solid women rosters. And if AEW can kind of build on what Impact has as a women's roster, I think they'll be in good hands. So now we're going to move to our final category. I know I jumped ahead, but this will be our final category of the night. And we can extend on it as much as we want. We can talk about it as much as we want, why we chose them. But we're doing best male wrestler of 2023 in AEW. And again, speak about it as much as you want right now. But Siren, who was your best male wrestler in AEW in 2023?
It's always going to be MJF. It's always going to be MJF. It's going to be MJF all the time. I'm like the biggest devil worshiper ever, like 150%. I just love everything that he does. I think that his in-ring is phenomenal. I think that the way that he explained in one of his interviews, he's talking about how he just wants to make the crowd love wrestling again. Like it doesn't have to be these big moves. He wants to get the same reaction out of like a 540 as you would, or out of like a body slam as you would out of like a 540. You know what I mean? Like, and to be able to have that energy, to be able to get that out of the crowd from like a kangaroo kick. You know what I mean? Like that man has something. He has it. And I think that I love watching it all the time. I love the fact that his little thing between him and Adam Cole, like in the beginning, and I don't even think that AEW thought that was going to work as well as it did and run as well as it did, but it went so freaking well. I also love the fact that he is totally real and his promos are very, like, I don't know, they feel very legit from a place of very, very, as somebody who was definitely bullied and had that ugly duckling syndrome growing up. And I think a lot of wrestling fans go through that. I don't know if it's like why we like wrestling or something, but like, I think we're all have had a little bit of social exclusion at some point in our life. And so to hear him talk so openly about it with such like bravado is just like, damn, yeah. And to see him become so big and so amazing, so like outlandishly just out there and bigger than life, and to know and like to look at his pictures from when he was a kid and to see, look, I too can do something like that. And I just think it's inspirational. I think he's awesome. He may be a bit of an asshole, but I still want him to spit in my face.
Yeah, he is. Be still my heart, MJF.
100%.
I mean, he is our scumbag. So that's your male wrestler of the year. What's one of his matches in 2024 did you love the best out of him?
I'm gonna have to go with you with the tag versus the Righteous, because I thought it was really cool and people didn't think that he was gonna win, or the Jay White with the leg injury. I love watching him overcome things. I enjoy that because for a while there, he wasn't wrestling as much. And as they had mentioned multiple times, like, oh, you get people to wrestle for you. I mean, like, I don't have to. I'm MJF, but I really do love seeing him overcome a little bit more adversities now that he has done that face turn. And it's really just adding to the depth of his character. And I love it. But yeah, the kind of matches where he's a little on the out and out, where he overcomes, those are my favorite matches. Righteous for the tag.
Solid choice for our scumbag, our world champion MJF. Danny, she might have taken yours, I don't know, but who is your male wrestler of the year in 2023 for AEW?
Okay, again, I've got two.
Okay,
always two today. First one, Connor already knows who it's going to be.
Marina Shafir.
A male wrestler. I love
male wrestler.
Male wrestler. Connor.
What she said?
Controversy.
All right. Well, Marina Shafir could be that too.
No. I'm going to go with
No.
Punk because, again,
Yeah, I know.
controversy is cash. He's got buzz. He might be slower now that we're mid 40s. But again, he's a guy. He's there. He says what he thinks, and you don't know what he's going to do. So he's still getting attention, even though he's in WWE. Initially, I had somebody else because I wasn't sure if we were doing WWE 2 or AEW. But I'm going to have to go with Swerve. And the reason for that is, when you think about, Hit Row, think about when he was, in WWE. And I don't even remember, he was a Top Dollar, that other guy, and then there was him. And that kind of, I feel like that masked his ability to shine. That really like brought him down on a performance level, because this is a guy who honestly, he had Chicago going. He really did. And I kind of regret not making a sign that said, again, the United Center is Swerve's house. But you add to the hype factor the song, for starters. Then you add Prince Nana's dancing, which is cute, and it's all over TikTok. Not to mention just how well he plays that heel role. His match with Hangman, that was really, really intense. My sister, actually, she's not a fan. She sent me the link, and I was like, yeah, I already knew about this. So my pick is Swerve, and I'm excited again to see AEW in Chicago again. I'm excited to see Swerve and what he's going to do in 2024.
Solid, both solid picks, and there's nothing wrong picking Punk because technically he was in AEW for most of 2023, so he still counts. And I agree with you on that. Like Connor said earlier, the match with Joe, seeing them wrestle each other in Wembley, I thought would never happen. I thought we'd never seen two guys like that, both ROH legends, guys who wrestled in WWE that are both in AEW now, wrestle in a stadium like that.
Yeah.
So both solid picks. Connor, what is your pick for male wrestler 2023 and thoughts on that pick?
Well, both of my picks are gone now. MJF and CM Punk, they're both gone. So I'm going to go Bryan Danielson. He's had a really good year. But really, my number one would be CM Punk. But I don't want to be the same as everyone else. But Bryan Danielson, he's had a lot of good matches this year. Probably more to good matches than he should have had because he's had a lot of injuries this year. I don't know how he's going right now. But his matches against Andrade, against probably who else? I know he's going against a lot of people this year. 2024 will probably I'll pick Sting for 2024 probably. But yeah, CM Punk was part of AEW 2023. MJF, I think when his title run's all set and done, he'll probably have the best AEW world title run out of anybody. Like he'll have the best AEW world title run in history. My number one will be MJF, but I'll go just to be different. I'll go Bryan Danielson.
And what was your favorite Bryan Danielson match of 2023?
Ooh, that's a good one. Probably Bryan Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. at Forbidden Door. I believe that was the match at Forbidden Door.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that'd be my favorite match of his.
Yeah, no, that's a solid match because I mean that they were both technical guys, and just watching that match was really fun to watch. Just seeing which guy would get the better holds, which guy would be the better mat wrestler. So it was a solid match. For me, I'm actually going to go with Danny. I'm going to agree with Danny on this one. I'm going to go with Swerve. I did not like the Swerve character for a while when he tried the mogul group with I don't know who those two guys were anymore that beat up Keith Lee. But his switch in 2023 to this sinister, dark turn of Swerve, like with Prince Nana like doing his dance with the lightness to it, but then Swerve's got this attitude about him, and he's got like this righteousness to him. It is
breaking in people's houses,
it is a great character development for Swerve, and he had some solid matches and feuds in 2023. His feud with Darby and Sting, that storyline that culminated with the double casket match at All In was a solid storyline. Then you had his story with Hangman Page, which by far was the best feud he's had in AEW. He honestly, I said this one night. I think I said it on the Canada podcast that I think Hangman Page brought his best wrestling swerve in that storyline, because that storyline was solid. And now you're getting Swerve in singles actions through that Continental Classic, which I honestly thought he should have won his group, because that's where you push him. But I kind of see where they're going with it. They're trying to build him up more. So I don't think that loss in the triple threat hurt him. And I think Saturday at World's End, I think he gets the win over Keith Lee, because they want to keep that momentum going for him. I don't see it as like a bump in the road for Swerve. I see it as an opportunity for him to show that he deserves being that main title picture in 2024. So I'm going to go with Swerve Strickland for my male wrestler of the year in AEW. Before we start winding down here, I want to get your guys' thoughts on 2024. 2024 is going to be a huge year. A lot of stuff going on in 2024. All In is going to be back at Wembley next year in 2024. Looking solid to that. But for you guys in 2024, what is one match or one wrestler you'd like to see in AEW? Either come over and, be signed to them, or a match you'd like to see on a certain Dynamite or on a pay-per-view card for next year, kind of like a prediction thing. Siren, we'll start with you first. Either one of those questions you can answer. It could be what wrestler you want to see in AEW or what match you want to see next year.
Well, the wrestler that I want to see in AEW will never come over to AEW, but I would love to see Seth. I would love to see Seth Rollins, because I don't watch enough WWE. I just can't get into it. I try. I watch it every week. I swear to you, man. I just wind up fast forwarding it and then not remembering what happened. But I would love, because the man is electric. I just love to watch him. I think he would bring a lot, personality wise. I think he could bring a lot creatively. He's just, So, but for in AEW, something that I'm still talking about that Orange Cassidy heel turn. I really do think that they need to do something different with him. And I would love to see Danhausen wrestle more, and not just wrestle more, but wrestle like he used to wrestle. I think they broke out the very evil once. He's just been a living meme. And the man has skill. It's not like he can't wrestle. I've seen him wrestle. I know he can. Let my Danhausen wrestle. How can people love that Danhausen, and how can he get his blimp with all his human monies if he can't wrestle? So, that's what I want to see. I want to see more Danhausen, and I want to see a little something different from Cassidy. I'm hoping he'll turn. That'd be so cool. But all wishful thinking. And
bonus question: what pay-per-view would you be looking forward to next year?
Forbidden Door, because hopefully WWE is going to be there. Look, I flipped it in just like I do every podcast. Like I said, every single podcast. Forbidden Door, WWE, get on it. Come on. You only need to get along one day a year. Do it.
That'd be actually solid. Danny, how about you? Something 2024 AEW that a wrestler you'd like to see, or a match, or a feud, or a pay-per-view?
Wrestler that I would like to see come over. That's a very good question. I'm gonna say Kevin Owens, only because I like KO. I know KO is buds with the Elite or something like that, but I'd like to see him in AEW. I think he would fit well there. Match wise, I'd like to see Starks with a run for the AEW title. Just see how far we can push him. That would be fun. And then pay-per-view that I'm looking forward to. Let me think. I would have to say, without being biased, Double or Nothing, only because that one is just one of the first ones of the year, I believe. That one I'm looking forward to. And then I'm also, again, looking forward to being at All Out again.
Yeah, no, and I would love to come up back home to the Chicagoland area and go to All Out. Just to experience it. Because again, I'm from the Chicagoland area and I would love to see it in person. But yeah, no, I absolutely solid picks for predictions next year. Connor, how about you? Something you're looking forward to in 2024, whether it be someone coming over from another promotion, a pay-per-view, or a match you'd love to see?
I definitely don't have anyone I'd like to see come over. I think AEW has a good roster of people. They just need to build on who they have. Unless it's someone that's going to like really help AEW, I think they're good. A match I've been really wanting to see, depending on when he comes back from injury, he just got injured. Kenny Omega and Edge. That would be a really unpredictable match of how that would go and the promos and how the match would even look like. That for me, but it also depends on when Kenny Omega comes back because he doesn't really have an injury. He has like a serious health issue, which an injury is a health issue, but it's a little bit more different than your normal injury. Another good match I like to see, again, if Kenny Omega is back, Malachi Black and Kenny Omega, or Buddy Matthews and Kenny Omega. I've always said Buddy Matthews is the Australian version of Kenny Omega. We just need the one-on-one match. Yeah, probably Edge and Kenny Omega for me. And pay-per-view I'm looking forward to is Revolution 2024. It's Sting's last match, and I'm going to be going to it. I think 99.9% sure I'm going to it.
Oh, good for you.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah,
give Sting my love.
I really hope that Lex Luger has something to do with that. Because him and Sting teamed up for a lot in WCW. I feel like it's only right for Lex Luger to be there. I don't know, do something. Like they had a Ric Flair there as a pacemaker, so I mean they could have Lex Luger who's in a wheelchair there.
Ow! Oh, sorry.
I agree. I think that would be a solid. I mean, all these guys that have wrestled for so long together, like Sting and Flair and Luger, I think it would be great to see them there to support Sting in his final match. I think we're all going to be emotional when that match is over because a lot of us grew up watching Sting throughout the years, from Surfer Sting to Joker Sting to the Crow Sting to, now that he can still fly off of banners and go through tables Sting. So I think we're going to really be sad when he's finally done.
Yeah.
For me, I'm kind of indifferent with Connor and with the ladies is I'd like to see someone come over in 2024 that's just going to shock everyone. I don't know if it's going to shock everybody because of Adam Copeland being over there now. But we also don't know the length of his contract with AEW. So we don't know, how much we're going to get of Adam Copeland in 2024. But I would like to see someone big come over to AEW to kind of fill that void that CM Punk was. But again, it's hard because CM Punk is that moneymaker because controversy makes cash. And so it's very hard to kind of fill that void. I do feel AEW should stick with their roster. They do maybe bring one more big name over just to kind of give that boost, that push for 2024. Maybe help sell out All In as well in Wembley. Match I honestly would love to see is I don't think they've wrestled before, but Ospreay versus Adam Copeland. I think that would be a great match. Even for someone the age of Adam Copeland, he can still go in the ring, and he can still sell stuff in the ring. And matching him up with Will Ospreay would be an awesome match. That could be a Forbidden Door match right there. Because nobody has seen that match before, and that's what Forbidden Door is all about, is having matches against people from different promotions that never wrestled each other. So, and then I think my pay-per-view that I'm looking forward to is Double or Nothing, just because, again, it was one of the very first pay-per-views AEW ever had. Plus, I really love their Double or Nothing Battle Royal, their Casino Battle Royale theme, because you never know who's going to be in the groups. You never know who's going to be in the Spades group or and you never know who's going to be the Joker. That's my favorite point in that Casino Battle Royal at Double or Nothing is they have the Joker. Could be anybody, and it could be someone returning from injury. It could be someone new. So that's one of the pay-per-views I highly look forward to. So I think 2024 is going to be a really solid year for AEW. I think as long as, they can keep everything internal, not get too dramatic backstage, and just ignore these headlines and these naysayers saying that they're going to go out of business when clearly they're not. And they're going to have a solid 2024. So as we wind down here, I just want to thank everybody for watching. I want to thank Siren for joining us tonight. You can catch Siren on AEZ Canada, always on Saturday. She's always got great insight. She's got a lot of energy, and we love having her part of the AEZ Canada team, even with us. Danny, thank you for joining us. Danny is always an insight for us. She's got so much knowledge. Her and I pretty much grew up in the same era of pro wrestling. So, I mean, we both understand, so we thoroughly enjoy having her on. Connor, always a pleasure. And we always have love for you for everything you do for us with this channel. So I really appreciate you helping us out every day, every way. We love you for that. So as Connor had flashed down below with our banner, stay tuned. We got a lot of stuff coming up here in All Elite Zone podcast coming up. Connor, would you like to mention that interview coming up?
Yeah, January 19th. I hope I'm not looking at the 2023 calendar again.
Yeah, stop looking at the 20. It's going to be 2024.
I believe I got that date right. Let me just double check to make sure. Yeah, January 19th, Friday, an hour before Rampage, our Rampage live reaction. We're going to be having ECW legend and Blue BWO member, the Blue Mini, will be on here for an interview. I want to get the full BWO on. Maybe that's a possibility. I'm working on doing that. Having both Stevie Richards and Simon Diamond and Blue Mini, the full BWO on here. But for sure, confirmed, Blue Mini will be on here January 19th. An hour before Rampage. Then we also got a few other interviews already confirmed. I'm just waiting. I like to spread them out a little bit. I don't want to announce everything and then, it just becomes a big mess. I learned from my mistakes with that. But I want 2024 to be a year of ECW. I've got a lot of guys like Raven I like to have on here, or Tommy Dreamer, or Bully Ray, or really anyone from that original ECW. I really want that. I want 2024 to be the year of ECW for the All Elite Zone. There's also a lot of up-and-coming wrestlers I want to have on here. I was talking to a few of them last night after our Dynamite reaction of someone I want to bring back on here. We never brought a guest back on here, but I want to bring one guest back on here to have a better interview this time, I feel like, and some things I wanted to say. Yeah, that's the interview we got coming up. And we still got the big one. Don't worry, I haven't forgot about that one. That is still the plan. Some way or another, it's going to happen in 2024. Yeah, definitely check out all these links in the description below, because that's where a lot of the guest announcements will be posted.
Awesome. And Danny, do you have any socials that that people can follow you on? Maybe I'm gonna start promoting everybody on here now. So
the only one that I have is that I'm starting is the Green Mother, which is on Facebook, and it's basically a thing for parents and families. Like if you have an issue, that you're finding with child development, or you need a resource as an educator. That's where I'm at. I'm actually turning it into a website. So it's kind of like it's like the Midwest version of Super Nanny Joe Frost. That's kind of, you've been very naughty. But yeah, kind of like that, where it's basically to help families if they have, development concerns, behavior concerns, things like that. I do live in Wisconsin, so any Wisconsin listeners, I basically am taking the name of my old business, kind of switched it over a little bit, and I am an LLC. I just have to change the name. So if anybody needs anything, any educators or know of an educator, I have ample resources sitting behind me. I love to share. I was once that teacher that walked into a childcare center back and I'm not going to say what year that was, but with no experience. And I'm doing this to give back to the community, because if it weren't for two of the teachers that I had that showed me what to do my first and second year, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Awesome. Well,
Hell
thank you for
yeah.
that, Danny. Siren, any social media people can follow you at?
My name followed by 1-3 on Twitch. Usually after our lives or anything like that, I pop on and I play video games. So feel free to come join me.
Awesome. And of course, we're always on the social medias here at All Elite Zone Podcast. You can follow us on Spotify, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. We're all over the place. You can also follow Siren's friends and our friends over at All Elite Zone Canada. They always have a show on Saturdays. You can follow them as well. We're just very excited for what 2024 is going to bring for us, not only in AEW, but pro wrestling in general. I always say this on every podcast, but as wrestling fans, we should just all come together and just love what we love and not pretty much hate everything else. Watch what you watch, but also let everybody else enjoy what they do. Don't follow tribalism and don't show any hatred. It's one thing with the IWC that I cannot tolerate. So we're all just one big happy nerd family of pro wrestling. Does anybody else have anything else to say?
I do want to address Josh in the comments. Josh wrote, wasn't Hulk Hogan a nanny? Yes, I believe he does, Josh. Thank you. And I love that. But what I do is a little bit different. I actually have been off work since last Friday. Grandparents are in town. I don't go back until next Wednesday, the 3rd, and we start preschool. So it's going to be interesting to see how she does with preschool for 3 hours a day.
And Danny's leg drop is probably much better than Hulk Hogan's right now. So
I wouldn't want Hulk. If you wouldn't seen that movie, Hulk Hogan as Manny, I wouldn't want to be in his position. Just to say the least.
Yeah, what I do isn't easy, and I've said this before. Punk. I hate to bring Punk up, but he left AEW because the kids couldn't manage a target. I left teaching because I had somebody who decided to run her mouth and lie to our boss, and she's why I will not go back to teaching unless I'm in management. So I feel you.
Fair enough. On
Yeah.
that note, thank you all again for joining us tonight. Make sure you guys join us tomorrow night for our Rampage reaction, and then Saturday we may or may not have a live reaction to World's End, seeing it as being the last pay-per-view of 2023. Not sure. I'm sure Connor will probably make that decision. But again, thank you guys for joining us here tonight. And if there's nothing else, I will gladly say thank you. And as always, good night.